What's up, y'all? You know, I just got through having a discussion with a friend of mine on, we were talking about the ancient Egyptians or Kemites or Tarseti. And we always said that it was a civilization that predated ancient Kemet by 5,000 years. And that civilization was found down in what you would call Lower Nubia. Now, the terminology of how this goes in ancient Egypt, the north is what you call Lower Kemet or Lower Egypt. The south is Upper Egypt. Now, people always determine the reasons why they call it like that. Well, it is due to what you would call a pole reversal that happened thousands of years ago. See, at one time, the world was what you see as the magnetic north. Once the magnetic north was south, and the magnetic south was north, and it flipped. This is why now you have North Africa is a desert. They don't want to tell you about this shit, this magnetic pole reversal that happened. It didn't just happen overnight. It's something that happened gradually over time because Earth changes its polarity every so often. It don't change like gradual. It's just something that happened over time. But sometimes it flips real quick. And that changed a lot of events on the planet. So that's why when you look at Egypt, the north, what you see is diametrically north. The diametrical magnetic north was in the south, and the magnetic south was in the north at one time. So that's why ancient Egypt called the north Egypt Lower Egypt and the south Upper Egypt. Now that I broke that down, it was a civilization that predated ancient Kemet, or ancient Egypt. Now, there's always been this discussion going around in history places where, people said, well, the ancient Egyptians came from Lebanon. They don't tell their story like that, where they come from. If you listen to the Egyptians explain, and you read what they explain where they come from, they said the people travel from the mountains of the moon and the lake of the moon. The lake and the moon, they followed the river, the Nile River. They said they followed the river to the mouth. Now, what's the mouth of the river? The delta. But instead of the Nile flowing south, the Nile flows magnetically north. Because at one time, that's the only river that does so. Because a long time ago, the world was upside down. But there's always this debate on whether the Egyptians were a Lebanese, a Semitic group, or African group. And I would say this. The group started off as completely an African group. I don't give a fuck what nobody say. They were the original Egyptians or Kemites were African. It wasn't two years later when all these invasions came from by the first one was the Hyksos invasion. But it was other invasions before that, but they didn't have really an effect because the ancient Egyptians were able to repel those civilizations easily, like the constant Canaanites constant attack from the Libyans in the west. Then you had the Hittites. They was enemies of Egypt. But what you happened during the Middle Ages of ancient Kemet, you had what you call the Bronze Age collapse. Now, the Bronze Age collapse happened due to what you call several changes This was like during the Younger Dryas period, where you had a great drought that happened, and the drought wiped out a lot of the great civilizations like Sumer, the Akkadians. It wiped out the Sumerians that were still hanging on. And then you had this group of people that came from the sea. They said there was a group of people that were from all the islands and from Greece. Them were your Trojans. Your Trojans, if you all remember the Battle of Troy and how Troy was destroyed, those people were pushed out of what you call Anatolia by the Spartans and the Greeks, and they were moved. They went down south and they was on ships and they raided pretty much all the coastal areas from Lebanon all the way down to Egypt, and they came into conflict with the ancient Egyptians or Kemites. But a lot of people don't know it's a civilization that predates ancient Egypt, and it's in Nubia, or today's Sudan. It predates Egypt, and it's where Egypt started, which for some reason Dr. Hawasp, all the Egyptologists just forget. They just don't want to use that because they don't want to say that because they found out all the monuments, all the great monuments, like from the pyramids, Ramses' tomb, all the monuments are further to the south. They'll make you think that they further north. No, they're not. I've been there. The ancient pyramid of Giza, the pyramids of Giza is all the way damn near, ain't nothing more than 400 miles from the Sudanese border, but they ain't gonna tell y'all that. And then they come to find out that ancient pyramids of Egypt are not even the oldest pyramids. The oldest pyramids are farther south, going into Nubia. So why would people that came from Lebanon build a civilization older, further and further south? That doesn't make sense. It's not even logical that a civilization will go all the way to the south, damn near into Nubia, and start from Nubia and building on up with north, and the oldest monuments are in the south. If you go into Sudan, that is called Lower Nubia. But they've been lying to y'all about this history for a long time. And see, another thing they want to keep the lid on that they don't want y'all to know, and I hate to say this because you'll have some people saying, "Oh, you being racist against white people for saying this." I'm just gonna be honest. White people, y'all haven't been around that long. White people, y'all only been around 60,000 years. Black people has been around damn near for 300,000 years. So, and white people, even the scientists and shit know this, that white people came about due to mutation from them moving from a southern region to a northern region, and they didn't have no need to have woolly hair or darker skin because they moved past the equator. So their skin got lighter just so they could get they didn't have to have need for vitamin C because they was living in the north. So their skin got lighter, y'all hair got looser, and that's how white people came about due to mutation. Now people say, "Oh, you trying to say we mutants?" No, that's what happened. That's called your body adapting to that environment. Take like I'm gonna show you a prime example of divergence. Take the Bengal tiger. The Bengal tiger is a large cat, right? A large cat. Now take the Siberian tiger. The Siberian tiger is slightly larger and more bulkier than the Bengal tiger, and coat is a lot fluffier because the Bengal tiger gotta live in the tropics, whereas the Siberian tiger lives in the north, so it gotta have a bigger coat. It has to be bigger so it can collect fat, so it can live in the north. It didn't have no need to have a shorter coat because he was living in a frigid area. Now you take a Bengal tiger and move a Bengal tiger north over a few years, it's gonna adapt to their environment. Like I told black people, if black people live in the north, the global north for a few thousand more years, eventually we gonna get white. And motherfuckers like, wow, that's for real. Yes, you eventually, black people in a few thousand years, we gonna end up looking like white people. Now take white people. White people move right back south. All the white people move back to Africa. What's gonna happen? Y'all bodies gonna have to adapt to that southern environment. So what's gonna happen? Your skin gonna get back darker. Your body gonna adapt to that environment. That's called adaptation, people. This shit don't got nothing to do with I'm superior because I'm white. It don't got nothing to do with that stupid ass shit. It's just that your body, the human body, adapts to its environment. That's it. It don't make you superior or this and that, all that shit that these white supremacists and people say. It's just that the human body adapts to an environment. So that's the same thing with the Egyptians. They were a black civilization. And, you know, people, they want to live in denial of it. And then a lot of people, another thing they hate to hear, a lot of these Arabs and white supremacists hate to hear, that they actually came from black people. Now, they're like, how is that possible? Well, I'm going to show you divergence right here. You have what you call the Khoisan. Khoisan is a shorter group of people that live down in southern Africa. You know those little people with the squinty Asian looking features that look Asian in the face? The Khoisan. The Khoisan are the oldest ethnic group of people on the planet, even though they're the most marginalized people. The British tried to the British and the board tried to wipe them out and blame it on the Zulus and shit. So this is what they try to do, because you know they want to, the Afrikaner government want to take claim to Africa, and by taking claim to South Africa, they say, well, the Zulus, they removed the Khoisan, not given the fact that they was doing this, they was killing Khoisan when they seen Khoisan, the board and the British was killing Khoisan, using them for target practice and shit. These people that mind their own business. But I digress. Yeah, but this is called like your body adapt. The Khoisan are what you'll see these features as people move away from the equator. You have what you call your Bantu split from the Khoisan. Then you have your Nilotics. If you all know the Nilotic people, those real tall black Africans that's in Kenya and shit, in Tanzania, the Maasai, the Dinka in Sudan. Those are your Nilotic. They skin damn near to the point where they almost blue. Like what's her name? That model name, the Ewik, the real dark skinned, tall African people. Then you have the Cushitic people. The Cushitic people are your Somalis, your Eritreans, your Ethiopians, your Djiboutians, and then some of them mixed in like places like Tanzania, Uganda. That's how you got your Tutsis in Uganda. They were mixed between Kushites and Bantu. So in certain places, Kushites and Bantus mix, Nilotics and Cushitic people mix. That eastern part of Africa is a mix of Cushitic, Bantu, and Nilotic people. You'll see those features in Bantu people that's Cushitic. It's just like that. But Africa is a very diverse place. And that's where a lot of ethnic groups come from, including your dark-skinned Indians, your Polynesians, your Polynesians, your Australian Aborigines, your what's the people down there, your Dravidians and the Dravidians and what's the other dark-skinned people in India, the Tamils. All them people and them little people off the coast of India that look African. And people in Indonesia, Malaysia. Why you think it's melanated people all over the goddamn planet? You even had black indigenous Americans you had black indigenous Americans that were black. People don't want to talk about this shit. You had melanated people or what you call Africoid type people all over the goddamn planet. Way before everybody else came. Way before you had all these different groups of people that broke out. Now, a lot of white supremacists and people don't like that shit, but them the facts.